Hello and welcome back to ERU, where we round up the biggest results and talking points from across European football. I'm joined today, I've got a treat for all of you. It's Michael McCubbin in the house. How are you, McCubs?
I'm good, Dukes. Yeah, I feel like I haven't been on here in a couple of weeks. I'm doing well, Dukes. Just another weekend in lockdown, isn't it? Weather's slightly better, so that was nice. But otherwise, not an awful lot to report on. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm all right, thanks. I did enjoy the slightly better weather, actually. Got my legs out on Sunday, got the shorts on. Was tempted by the shirt off. In Scotland, if you get 16 degrees, it's taps off. But I spared the people of South London on this occasion. But anyway, enough of me being semi-naked. Let's get into our story of the week, which is Erling Haaland at the suggestion of @FoldsAshley. What went down, McCubs?
Well, obviously, Erling Haaland's had another massive week, hasn't he? Obviously, 2 fantastic goals midweek against Sevilla, and then another brace on the weekend in the Riviera derby against Schalke. Obviously, the first of those, go and check that out if you haven't already. I feel like unless you've been living under a rock, you will have seen it, but an absolutely amazing volley, straight out the kind of school of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But yeah, just another sign that there's nothing really that Haaland can't do. But this has obviously led to yet more transfer speculation. Reports in the English press say that the 20-year-old Norwegian is going to demand a £300,000 a week 5-year contract at his next club. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation over him over the last few months in general. Fabrizio Romano claims that the former RB Salzburg star has a €75 million release clause. I think that's fairly widely known now, and that comes into effect in 2022. However, Dortmund could choose to sell him for a larger fee this summer. The favourites for a signature are Man City. Obviously, they're looking for that Sergio Aguero replacement. There's been a lot of talk about Romelu Lukaku in recent weeks as well, which I do find a little bit puzzling. Chelsea and Man United are also apparently in with a shout still. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer obviously worked with him at Molde. Obviously, they tried to sign him, didn't they, last year, and that did not work out at all. I would be pretty surprised if he ended up at Man United, considering the kind of relationship with Raiola and everything, and how that kind of contributed to an extent to not working out before. German publication Bild, however, do claim that Haaland will probably not leave BVB until 2022. The club are more open to selling Sancho this summer, which does make a lot of sense considering his contract runs out in 2023, I believe. I don't see Sancho signing another contract at Dortmund. I think, he's given them this extra year, hasn't he? So I think he probably will be on his way this summer, and obviously if they want that fee of around 100 million, they're probably not going to get the 120 million that they were holding out for last summer. But if they do want that more serious fee, then this summer is going to be the time to sell the Englishman. And in that case, they really won't be under pressure to sell Haaland, even if that does mean losing him for a slightly lesser fee the following year. I think it's pretty important now with Dortmund struggling to get even Champions League football at the moment. I think they really will need him back in the squad and firing all cylinders next year as well. But yeah, Dougie, I mean, if they do sell him, what are they going to be missing? Because he's had another excellent season, hasn't he?
I mean, that's an absolute understatement. He's been in remarkable form this year, at least remarkable goal-scoring form. There's still some... I occasionally see critics who watch Dortmund far more regularly than I do, of sometimes of his hold-up play with his back to goal, etc. But with open space in front of him on the counter-attack, there aren't many more lethal players in world football, and he's got 25 goals this season in 22 games in the League and Champions League. And as you mentioned earlier, he's in a ridiculous vein of form. 6 goals and 2 assists in his previous 5 games. Of course, that brace in the Champions League, which you mentioned as well. And then this awesome performance against Schalke at the weekend, which looked like this. 1 tackle, 2 aerial duels, 2 dribbles, 2 key passes, 3 shots and 2 goals. And many people actually predicted that Dortmund would be struggling the most out of all German clubs in the Bundesliga. Of course, the Westfalenstadion's got 83,000 people capacity. But according to the recent financial reports released by Deloitte in January, their revenue only fell by 7.2 million euros
Wow.
in 2019-20, which is a drop of just 2%, which compared to some clubs in the Premier League was not really a drop at all. I think Spurs was over 12, I think United was around 15 to 20. So that gives them a slight advantage in keeping hold of Haaland and sort of rejecting any monster bids that come in this window. And of course, having appointed Marco Rose, one of the most exciting, or Rosa, one of the most exciting managers in world football, he won't want to take over a squad which has just lost Sancho and Haaland. So I'm with you. I feel like it's going to be Sancho this summer, maybe Haaland the following one. But if they miss out on Champions League football, as you say, maybe they'll be forced to sell both of them. Their win against Schalke, which you can't really take too much into. I mean, Schalke have been woeful this year. They're bottom of the league. They're 9 points from safety. They've conceded a ridiculous amount of goals. I think it's close to 60 in the league. But this was just Dortmund's second win in 7 league games. They're sixth. They're 6 points off fourth place Eintracht Frankfurt, who we'll come on to in a bit, who are on a fantastic run of form. So there's a real battle for Dortmund to finish in those Champions League spaces. If they don't manage to do it, I think they could have issues in keeping hold of Haaland and Sancho. If they do, I think it will be fine. They'll keep the Norwegian for another year. But guys, we want to hear from you. If you were Haaland, which club would you join? Would you go Man City, Chelsea, Man United, or a different one? Maybe a Real Madrid? Let us know in the comments down below. And let's move on to our result of the week.
As Dougie was alluding to just then, the result of the week took place in Frankfurt. This one comes in from @Calvin Metcalf. What went down, Dukes?
Yeah, well, Eintracht Frankfurt condemned Bayern to their third league defeat of the season, beating them 2-1 with goals from Kamada, Younes and Lewandowski getting a consolation. And Die Rotten had the chance to go 8 points clear, but Leipzig's 3-0 win against Hertha Berlin, which included an absolute Sabitzer golazzo, cut the gap to 2 points at the top of the Bundesliga table. So, having looked like the table of the sort of league was done and dusted a few weeks ago, it is back on in Germany. Because since the Club World Cup, which Bayern won, they've been a bit sloppy actually since coming back. They conceded 3 goals against Arminia Bielefeld on Monday and another 2 goals here, and both were actually avoidable. Niklas Süle got dragged out of position for the first and failed to win the ball, allowing Younes to play in Kostic, who then squared for Kamada. And for the second, Süle allowed Younes to cut in on his right foot and curl a delicious shot into the top right-hand corner. Flick's side have now conceded 31 Bundesliga goals. That's the joint 6th best record in the division, and just 1 fewer than they conceded in the entirety of last year. So those defensive issues, I think, could come and cost them, not just in the league, but in the Champions League as well, where I feel like Man City are now strong favourites for the European title. But in terms of the stats, it shouldn't have been this close, really. They had 64% of the ball, that's Bayern. They had 19 shots with 12 on target to Frankfurt's 7 and 3. But Diadla actually created the far better opportunities, with XG rating it at 1.9 to 1.6 in Frankfurt's favour. And except for a sort of a double save from Kevin Trapp and one where it deflected and you had to push it over the bar, they didn't really test Frankfurt that much. It was all quite basic. It was all kind of in front of them. They struggled to get in behind them. And it was actually a really impressive display from Frankfurt. But in terms of Bayern's performance, they did create a wonderful goal, it has to be said. Leroy Sané took down Alphonso Davies' crossfield pass, beat Evan Ndika twice with some sort of cutbacks, awesome assist, and cut it back for Lewandowski for a tap-in, his 26th league goal of the season. Just an absolutely ridiculous tally once again. Sané now has 4 goals and 7 assists in 20 league games this season. Only 11 starts though, which is quite interesting. So Flick hasn't really made him that guaranteed focal point of that attack that we thought he was going to be after joining from Man City last summer. But he's still averaging a goal contribution every 102 minutes, which I just think is what Leroy Sané's done for the last 3-4 years when fit. He's just a fantastically sort of efficient footballer. But McCubs, for Frankfurt, what a win.
Yeah, very much so. And Frankfurt actually have a good record against Bayern, don't they, in recent years? Obviously, they beat them in the DFB Pokal final. Was that 2019? And then beat them, 5-6-0 was it, before Kovac got sacked a few months later. So actually, yeah, do have a decent record against Bayern. They're becoming a bit of a bogey team for them. But this wasn't just that. They have been on a magnificent run of form recently, which has seen them, get up into that kind of third spot in the Bundesliga. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. The one game that they didn't win was a draw, and scored 15 goals in their last 5. So they're averaging 3 goals a game at the moment, really ticking along nicely. They've only lost once since the 11th of December. That was in the DFB Pokal against Leverkusen. And they're now 4th, sorry, not 3rd, 7 points behind Bayern. All things considered, very much in with a shout for the Champions League. I think we were discussing it on Continental club the other day. I think that will be their first time in the European Cup since kind of the 1959-60 season. So that's pretty unprecedented. And even, 7 points at this stage of the season, not even completely out of the title race either, although I have my doubts whether they'll be able to carry on this run until the end of the campaign. But they're in very good shape, aren't they? 12 different players have scored for them, and 3 players, Silva, Kamada and Kostic, have contributed over 10 league goals. So they've got a really well-rounded attack there, and obviously that's not even discounting the fact that Luka Jovic is back in the side now as well. But this win was all about, like you said, Dukes, 27-year-old attacking midfielder Amin Younes, who is on loan with the club from Napoli actually. He registered 3 tackles and interceptions, 7 dribbles, 2 key passes, 5 shots and 1 goal. The kind of numbers that you really very rarely see an attacking midfielder rack up against a team like Bayern Munich. Very, very prolific on the day, and undoubtedly man of the match. 21-year-old Brazilian centre-back Tuta also deserves a shout-out. He completed 7 tackles and interceptions and also made 5 clearances. And of course, like you said, Dukes, Bayern's best player, undoubtedly Sane, really was kind of single-handedly running that attack, wasn't he? 3 tackles and interceptions, 5 dribbles, 5 key passes, 2 shots, and of course, that marvellous assist. But this obviously wasn't ideal preparation for Bayern, was it? They've got Lazio in the Stadio Olimpico on Tuesday, and they've won 7 of their last 8 games and beat Sampdoria 1-0 on Saturday. So the Rome club are in very good form going into that clash. Dukes, could you see an upset happening in that game?
It's quite difficult to imagine it, but I mean, as you say, Lazio have been in great form. I think Pepe Reina has had a surprisingly good campaign in goal with Strakosha injured. I think they've now got Lucas Leiva back as well. Ciro Immobile has just proven that his Lazio form last year wasn't a flash in the pan. He's still a consistent goal scorer. I think they might struggle, and because it's not the paciest attack, Lazio, I don't think they'll maybe take advantage of that high line that Bayern have as easily. So we'll see. I'm still going for Bayern in this one, although I don't think Bayern are going to win the Champions League. And McCubs, are you in agreement with me on that? That maybe these defensive frailties will come back to bite them?
Perhaps. I mean, on current form, it's hard to see Bayern matching a team like Manchester City. However, I don't know, there's a lot of quality in there. I'm still I still think they're going to be in with a shout. But yeah, Manchester City are very much worthy of their kind of favourites label at the moment in the Champions League, that's for sure.
100%. And I think Atletico Madrid, we mentioned on Continental Club a couple of weeks ago, they've had some iffy form recently as well. Of course, losing on Saturday as well. So, yeah, plenty to talk about in the Champions League. And we'll be back on UCL Review on Wednesday morning. I think it's me and James Wayne. So look ahead to that. But let's move on to our Star of the Week. Our Star of the Week this week comes in from @Tabato S. But before we break down who that is, there are a couple of other shouts, weren't there, McCubs?
Yeah, one in particular, Monaco centre-back Guillermo Maripan, who scored last night. Obviously, they won 2-0 over PSG. The Liga and title race very much on at the moment, isn't it? And piling more misery on Pochettino in what has been quite a difficult start for him, actually, domestically at least. Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez as well absolutely took apart AC Milan, didn't they? Go check out the highlights of that if you haven't already. Firing into what could be their first league title in over 10 years now. A lot of heroes this weekend, but we're going to go to Real Sociedad because they recovered very well from what was a really, really poor night in the Europa League on Thursday. And Alexander Isak in particular, because he netted a hat-trick as they overcame Alaves 4-0 on Sunday, which keeps La Real 5th in the table, 4 points off Sevilla, so still very much in with a shout of Champions League qualification. Just an excellent performance from him. Took his goals really nicely, particularly the first, a volley off a Mikel Merino ball, and the second, the chip after being played through by David Silva. Overall, his stats looks really good. 2 aerial duels, 1 key pass, and very prolific in front of goal, very clinical in front of goal, I should say. 4 shots and 3 goals. And Dukes, it continues what's been an excellent season for him, because obviously he's been talked about a lot over the years, hasn't he? And last season as well, he looked very impressive. But this season, having really held down that starting position, he's very much the number 1, number 9 for them now, isn't he? What have you made of him so far this term?
Yeah, it's been really impressive, to be honest. I mean, he started quite slowly. He only got 3 goals and 1 assist in his first 14 La Liga games of the season. But after Willian José has left in January for Wolves, he's now the number 9. He's the set number 9, and he's just recovered so well from that disappointing spell at Dortmund. And he now does look like one of the best emerging strikers in the world. Since the start of 2021, the calendar year 2021, he's played 6 league games. He scored 9 and assisted 1. He's running at 0.7 expected goals per 90, which is only behind Lionel Messi of regular starters in La Liga. And he's now got 12 goals and 2 assists in 20 league games this term. So really impressive. And he looks like a player full of confidence. Although, as you say, it was a perfect result for Real Sociedad as they bounced back from that 4-0 hammering, humiliation almost, at the hands of Man United on Thursday. I only watched the first 60 minutes because I then went to go and have dinner, I think. But their high line didn't work at all. There was no pressure on the ball. It was so straightforward for United, and they now play United again on Thursday. I suggest they rest all their players. They're not going to overturn that 4-0 at Old Trafford because they then got Real Madrid next weekend away from home. So as they look to continue their push for an unlikely Champions League finish, having started the season so well, this game's absolutely massive for them. But if they're going to have any hope of beating Real Madrid next week, who got a pretty scrappy 1-0 win this weekend, they're going to need Isak to be on fantastic form once again. But guys, that's all we've got time for on ERU for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let us know what you guys thought of our story of the week, result of the week, and star of the week in the comments down below. And if they've enjoyed this, McCubs, what should they go and watch now?
We touched upon Romelu Lukaku very briefly just now. If you want to watch a video about him, EFD explains about his progress at Inter Milan and whether United made a mistake in selling him, written very well by our very own Dougie Critchley. That came out Sunday, I believe.
Yes.
Go and check that out if you haven't already. Just go and check out all our other great content on EFD.
Perfect. And talking of Alexander Isak's improvement, we also did a Continental Club on Friday where we talked about the biggest improvements in Europe this season, with focus on Moise Kean, Andre Silva, and many, many others. So go show that some love. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.